Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. It's Friday, so Fragrance Friday beckons. Just a short little look at, well, you're looking at my not complete but nearly complete collection of Tom Ford travel size perfumes. I've acquired all of these this year because my impression is they've started doing this size with a great deal more regularity, and I think it's a great size if you're interested in trying out how you like the fragrance with Tom Ford, because it's such an expensive range. And honestly, although I think all of them are well formulated fragrances, there are some that just haven't suited me really. Even when I've had a sniff and tried on skin in the days when we could go into shops and squirt and walk around for a bit, or go home and think about it. I haven't been able to do that for quite a long time. We are able to now, but I just haven't had time. So samples are an absolute godsend in pandemic times for those of us who get itchy for a new fragrance. And samples from Tom Ford are hard to come by. I have got one actually of the new tuberose one. I'm just going to get up and see if it's somewhere on my desk. Yeah, it is. I'd forgotten about that. And I've only had one little squirt. So I did get this with a purchase, which is the sort of size you're more normally getting as a kind of gift with purchase or a tryout. That's tuberose nude tuberose. There it is, eau de parfum. I haven't really tried it, so can't tell you a lot about that. And I'm not a great fan of rose or tuberose, so it's probably not going to be entirely my cup of tea, although I'm sure it's done very well. But that's literally the first kind of sample size I've ever managed to wrest out of Tom Ford. So these travel sizes, now they're not cheap, they're £60, I think, which is a lot of money. They're beautifully presented, and obviously you're paying for a degree. This is Lost Cherry, by the way, for the fancy flask, and I think that's 30 mils, so that's a fairly decent size for you to really try and see if you like it. And I think they're refillable, although the refills certainly aren't on the website, so I'm going to have to go to the shop. I have to say, I've also got the Neroli one in the turquoise flask. I've forgotten what it's called, and it's packed in my luggage because I'm going away. Isn't that wonderful? We can actually go away now. I'm going away tomorrow. This video is really to introduce you to the orange one, which is Bitter Peach, which was released, I think, earlier this year. And I suddenly saw on the website the 30 ml size was available both on Selfridges, which is where I got mine from because I have free postage from Selfridges, but it's also on the Tom Ford website. I think you have to pay some postage there. Now, I can't give you a final opinion because although I do tend to be quite black and white about my fragrance preferences, so once I love something, I usually love it. And if I don't like it at first sniff, it's pretty rare that it grows on me. It's really the kind of in-betweeners that I come to like more. I have to say my initial impressions squirting on Bitter Peach this morning for the first time and seeing how it developed, I don't think it's going to be one of my favourites. I'm perhaps not surprised really, because although I like citrus fragrances, I think peach is a bit tricky to do. Having said that, the peach note is really not that dominant to me. Now, Tom Ford says, and I'm just looking at the website here, it actually launched last year. Time flies, doesn't it? Top notes are peach, blood orange, which I do not get, cardamom and heliotrope. Middle notes are rum, cognac, Davana, don't even know what that is, and jasmine. I would say I get the boozy notes a little bit on this. And then the base notes, which I suspect is what's making me a bit iffy about this, patchouli. And you know I have a love-hate relationship with patchouli. It has to be really cleverly in the mix for me to love it. Vanilla, a bit iffy. Sandalwood I generally like. Tonka bean, benzoin I'm usually okay with. Labdanum and vetiver. I like vetiver, but again, careful in the mix. Now, that's a real, what my grandmother would call a bugger's muddle, which probably sounds a bit rude. And I mean by that here, you have got a lot of notes from virtually all the note families. So you've got woody, you've got spicy, you've got boozy, you've got sugar, you've got powder, you've got balsamic, you've even got a bit of citrus in there. And I think that's a tough gig to throw all those in and expect them to work. If I'm honest, I find this to be a bit harsh in its opening notes. I'm really getting those base notes, which you shouldn't really get in an opening, of benzoin. I suspect the patchouli. There's a bit of fruitiness there, but I'd be hard pushed to identify it specifically as peach, but it is quite sugary. The booze is there. The sandalwood is there, but it's all a bit too heavy. And although I've seen reviews saying it's got an excellent last, I haven't felt that I've been aware of smelling it today after the first hour or so. And that's quite unusual for me with a new perfume. My nose acclimatizes fairly quickly, and I stop smelling on myself as much after I've got used to a new perfume. But on day one, I would expect to smell a bit more. Now, after the very initial dry down, I definitely get the vetiver, the slight leafiness, and it kind of freshens up that slightly pungent kick to begin with. But I don't know, there's something about it that's not really defined enough for me. I don't smell this and think, ooh, summer, winter, spring. I don't think evening. I don't think day. I don't think office. I don't think it falls in a particular niche for me. It just feels a bit kind of generic. That's my kind of feeling at the moment. But we'll see how it works out over time. By way of example of a fragrance that is growing on me, it's another of the Tom Fords that I got earlier this season, and it's the new one this year, Costa Azzurra, which is in an even smaller bottle, but it's cheaper. And I liked it at the outset, but I didn't love it. Now, I have to say, I've been wearing it a bit more recently. You can see I haven't used up that much of it, really. I was suddenly aware a couple of weeks ago of kind of smelling something really gorgeous in bed, actually, initially. That was on my pillow and my bedclothes. And I thought, gosh, I don't really recognise that fragrance. And it was this that was obviously, must have been that I hadn't showered my neck all that brilliantly. And it had rubbed off on my pillow, and it smelled really delicious. And then I suddenly became aware of it kind of on my clothes, which is something I'm very aware with Black Orchid, which is my all-time favourite perfume. I get it with 1934 Chanel's beautiful fragrance, and a couple of others. And it on that kind of kickback from old perfume on me, or on clothes in my handbag, whatever, this has a kind of spicy woodiness that's really, really nice. So that one's definitely grown on me in the last few weeks. But I shall be wearing more overtly summery fragrances next week when I'm on holiday, hoping for some good weather, some more cologne type fragrances, which we might talk about next week. So until then, keep safe, and I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.